From flooding to heat waves, wildfires to droughts, our planet has been experiencing more frequent and intense weather events in recent years. So how is this connected to climate change? And how can we lessen its impact? This is Decomplicated. How is extreme weather connected to climate change? Earth's weather cycles have shown signs of becoming increasingly more erratic, severe and prolonged. And though there is no blanket explanation for this change in weather patterns, human-induced global warming is a major underlying factor. Increased human consumption of fossil fuels since the Industrial Revolution has led to more greenhouse gases being released, such as carbon dioxide and methane, into Earth's atmosphere. This has contributed to climate change in the form of increased global temperatures, which can then affect how likely and how intense an extreme weather event can be. The causality between global climate change and individual extreme weather event varies from event to event, based on the type of weather, the location, time of year, and how intense, widespread, and long it is. However, not all events are becoming more likely and severe. Some may be decreased in chance by climate change, or may not be changed much, and changes are irregular across the world. What are some examples of extreme weather? There are four main examples of extreme weather: heat waves, wildfires, droughts, and increased rainfall. Heat waves in many parts of the world are getting hotter, more frequent, and lasting longer, and this is a result of human-caused climate change. Hot spells have more than doubled in duration in the past 50 years, and it's estimated that heat waves are 10 times more likely now, according to the UK's Met Office. Increased heat has contributed to more regular and extensive wildfire seasons in some areas of all continents. This is because more moisture is drawn out of the earth and vegetation by more frequent and intense heat waves. This then provides ideal kindling conditions for wildfires. Human activities, such as forest management and ignition sources, are also important causal factors for these events. Droughts are becoming more common and more severe in some areas due to climate change. There are two main ways this happens. Firstly, through evaporation. As the atmosphere warms, more evaporation from the land occurs. Secondly, through rainfall. Individual rainfall events are becoming heavier across the world, falling in shorter and more intense bursts. This heavier rain is more likely to saturate the ground and run directly into rivers, rather than sustaining soil moisture and groundwater reserves during more moderate rainfall. Overall, the combination of more evaporation, more sporadic, heavier rainfall, and less average downpours make dry spells more common in drought-prone regions and seasons. Droughts put added pressure on water supplies as demand increases from people in agriculture, which can lead to shortages. Human water management can also impact the likelihood of droughts. Increased rainfall has affected most of the world due to human-caused climate change. Typically, hot weather creates moisture and water vapour in the air, which turns into droplets to create rain. The warmer it becomes, the more vapour there is in the atmosphere. This results in more droplets and heavier rainfall, sometimes in a shorter space of time and over a smaller area. This increased rainfall worsens flooding, which can damage infrastructure and contaminate groundwater, making it unsafe to drink. However, flooding can also be caused by human factors, such as water management and defences. How can we lessen this impact? Scientists and experts have warned that if we want to reduce the worst consequences of climate breakdown, we need to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. This target was written into the 2015 Paris Agreement, a legally binding treaty that 196 parties agreed to uphold. The goal is to limit global warming to well below 2 degrees Celsius, preferably to 1.5 degrees Celsius, compared to pre-industrial levels. This baseline was partly chosen because it's the earliest period with near global observations. In order to keep temperatures under 1.5 degrees Celsius, dramatic changes need to be made. Namely, global CO2 emissions must be at half of their 2010 levels by 2030, and at net zero, or as close to no total carbon emissions as possible by 2050. The 1.5 degrees Celsius target is increasingly moving out of reach, and extreme weather is continuing to become more frequent and prevalent globally. These multiple climate impacts will likely worsen a host of issues people around the world are currently facing, like food insecurity, damaged infrastructure, induced migration, and constrained resources. However, there is still hope that we can minimise the destructive cycles of extreme weather. But in order to do so, we must focus on limiting any further human impact on our global climate immediately.